Hey guys, I'm Matt.
And I'm Raymond.
Bro, can you imagine? It's already October.
I know, it's pure mayhem.
It's so crazy. It's almost like,
We're in an asylum.
yeah, let's get this thing rolling. Hey guys, welcome back to Suggies and Broskies. So today we're smoking on the Asylum 8. It's their 8th anniversary cigar. I don't know much about it other than the box really looked cool. Kind of looked coffin-esque, if you will. But I thought today would be a good time to try another new cigar there.
So alongside with that, we're going to be drinking this Moonlight Mayhem by Filmland Productions. It's a 94 proof small batch straight bourbon whiskey. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that real fast.
Kind of sticking with the spooky theme here, since we are on the verge of Halloween and
spooky season.
Spooky season.
Yeah, I gotta get in the mood, you know.
So Ray, and I really kind of want to talk about like just when we first opened the box, what our first thoughts were on this before we cut it, before we lit it. Like we both had the same reaction to it. And go ahead, what was that?
So looking at this cigar, first of all, you get the box. It's most of the time I'm not going to buy a cigar based off of the packaging because that's normally not a good sign. If they're spending too much money on the packaging, they're not spending a lot of quality on the cigar. But the packaging is really nice. With it being their 8th anniversary year, which was 2020, they released 500 boxes of 20 of these cigars. So 10,000 of these cigars were manufactured. The band on this, it was an extremely well-designed band, well-designed packaging, and opening it up, I really, there was some like pros, like ups and downs with how I felt when I opened it. For instance, at first glance, it looks very well put together. The smells that come when you open that box, you get really strong fruity notes just from the smell without ever lighting the cigar.
See, and that's one thing I wanted to touch on is typically, like, I'll nose a cigar just out of pure enjoyment of tobacco. Most of the time you smell soil, dirt, you don't get very strong smells that you're going to get out of the flavor profiles. However, this in itself, I got like apricot, like
the apricot smell was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it really gave a very delightful beginning to the experience of smoking this cigar. Now, the roll on the cigar was a little off in our examples here.
That definitely uneven. So when you get a like a nice premium rolled cigar, like I've seen video after video, and I'm so into these watching these rollers do their thing. But they'll always take and they'll lay the cigar down on their little desk and they'll roll it out, making sure it's smooth and even and straight. These, on the other hand,
kind of like an imbalanced tire.
Yeah, they weren't even, they weren't smooth. So it definitely, just maybe just a visual aspect, but something to notice.
But with that, it doesn't seem to be smoking bad.
Right.
And I'm actually really enjoying, we've just gotten started into the cigar itself. But those fruity notes that we started smelling from opening the box, I'm really getting in the body of the cigar as well. Absolutely. Which is really delightful, knowing that it's consistent. It's not just, oh, I smell this I can actually taste it.
Right.
And that's not me being like, oh, it smells fruity, so I'm assuming it's fruity. No. But at the same time, the aromas and just the aromatics from these cigars, that's not really why a lot of people buy cigars. Most of the time, if people are wanting the aromatics aspect of tobacco smoking, they go towards the pipes.
Absolutely.
But these have a very aromatic smell to them that brings that fruitiness. But there's a little bit of like still like a pine, or not pine, wrong wood. More of like that Spanish cedar flavor to it. Got that oakiness, and but not quite as strong. If you understand what I'm saying there?
I could see some pine. Maybe like do like a little pine needle in there mixed with the apricot, the fruit.
Yeah.
I could see that.
And I mean, we got this trying to be like, oh, cool, Halloween. I feel like this is more of like a Christmas cigar. You know, you get that fruitiness, and that the aromatics that I'm getting off of it really brings you closer to like the Christmas aspect of it.
Sure.
Which is really weird. It's interesting. I've never like smoked a cigar and felt like a season.
Right.
Which I have seen. That's kind of sparked my interest a little bit. Cigar Daily.
Okay.
They do.
I love watching Tim.
Tim is amazing. He's very knowledgeable, and he's really easy to watch.
And he's funny.
He's funny. Yeah, he's great. But some cool things that they do is during the different seasons and different holidays that come up, they do sampler packs.
Yep.
That they feel are good for that time of year and that season. So like right now, if you go onto their website, they've got Halloween packs, sampler packs. They'll have Christmas packs. They'll have Thanksgiving, New Year's packs, stuff like that. And the prices are really good, but it gives you the opportunity to try the different cigars that kind of might suit you good for that season or that holiday.
Yep.
I feel like I would be surprised to see it in a Christmas pack, but I feel like this would be one that would be in a Christmas pack.
I could
just off the flavor notes of it, which is crazy to me.
I could see that.
So, well, moving away from the cigar itself, well, let's not move away. How many Asylum cigars have you smoked?
So to date, this is my second.
Same. So I've had this one, which is the 8-year.
Yep.
And then I've had the Purgatory, which is like a monster of a cigar. It is a full day smoke.
I take that back. This is my third.
Okay.
I had the Asylum 13.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Asylum Medulla, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very massive ring gauge.
I think, don't we have one back here?
We do have one. It's in the top section. Huge ring gauge.
Like, look at that. Yeah, the Medulla.
Yep.
So I think the Medulla and the Purgatory are both the same ring gauge.
Yep.
I believe. The 70. And I think the Purgatory is either an 8 or a 9-inch. This is a 7-inch.
Yeah.
Like, just, that's not a 30-minute, like,
okay. Like, just side by side.
Yeah. Like, and like, these 8 years aren't small cigars either, though.
No, they're not.
So, but yeah.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed all the I mean, I've only had 2, but out of the 2, I've enjoyed the ones I've had from them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
so, I kind of want to get into. Well, let's get into this Moonlight real quick, and then I've got another question for you, Ray.
All right. So this Moonlight, from reading up on them and stuff like that, it's made by Filmland Productions, and they're a crew of whiskey and aficionados and movie buffs. And that's how they describe themselves. And their whiskeys and bourbons are made kind of the way they explain it is they want to tell a story with their bourbon.
Okay.
They don't just want you to enjoy the drink. They want it to have a story that comes along with it. Like this one is like a Romeo and Juliet stories with like star-crossed lovers, but they've got like werewolves mixed into it.
Okay.
And so like there's a biter, and you know you got the Starstruck lovers, and it's crazy stuff. If you want to learn more about this, or even read up on the story of this one in particular, you can go to filmlandspirits.com, and you can read all the stories that go along with their different bourbons and stuff.
Yeah, with each bottle. Which
I think is cool because it gives you more of an experience with that bottle than just the bottle itself and the drinks.
Right.
So you can, it opens up for you to tell more stories as well while you're drinking. So,
my buddy. Want to get into it?
Let's get into it.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Wow. Straight off the gate, like I'm getting a lot of sweet flavors.
Yeah, very sweet. I feel like it pairs with the cigar really well because it's got that fruitiness to it.
Yeah. Almost like cherry. Is that cherry?
Yeah.
So it definitely has the young bourbon, the young whiskey age to it. Like, so there's definitely that ethanol burn on the front end, but it's an interesting mixture.
It's comfy though.
Yeah, it is definitely comfy. It's an interesting mix between the sweet and that slight ethanol burn.
On the nose, you really get a lot of that caramel and stuff on it. You don't really get that on the palate. To me, I don't really taste that so much. All my sweetness is coming from the fruitiness of it.
Yeah. Well, I got a little caramel on the second hint there, kind of mid-tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of on the way back. But all in all, I mean...
It's a fine bourbon.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Especially pairing with this cigar, which typically when I pair cigars, I want like abstract.
You like the contrast?
The contrast of flavors. So it kind of like a lot of the time your stronger notes to me, and for instance, for me it pulls the opposite notes pretty well. But with these having a lot of the similar notes to them, I feel like they're just complementing each other there.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
See it. So right, the other thing I want to talk about, which you have no idea to this point. So what did you just recently get done doing? These last couple weekends?
Oh, concerts.
Concerts?
Concerts. Buddy. Concerts.
So the first weekend...
I don't know if you can really, because I call it a concert, it's a music festival.
So there's something in particular that I really kind of want to delve into a little bit that happened the first weekend that you were so excited you called me mid-festival.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Drew Estates.
That
was crazy. So I got to meet one... let me backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, let's backtrack.
I was at so a couple weekends ago here in Louisville, Kentucky, we have concerts called Bourbon and Beyond, and it's a 4-day music festival packed with all sorts of blues, country, like I don't want to call it a country festival, but that's what people view it as.
Okay.
But we had everything from the Beach Boys to Teddy Swims to Alan Stone to Whiskey Myers. Like those are a lot of the big ones that were showing up there. But I was walking around and, bourbon is in the name. Pappy and Co., Pappy Van Winkle, had a tent.
Okay.
And the only thing that they were selling in that tent was the Pappy cigar line.
Crazy.
Which happens to be made by Drew Estates.
Crazy.
So I walk up, I'm sitting there listening to the guy do his little pitch and stuff, and I was like, hey, it'd be really cool to have a conversation with this guy.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, can you redo your pitch? And is it okay if I record it so I can show all of our Stogies and Broskies family? And he was like, yeah. And he walked out of the booth, left the booth, walked out into the middle of one of the aisles of the festival and did a whole pitch explaining the two cigars that they had to offer there that are the Pappy and Co. cigar line.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really neat. He was extremely nice. I will post the video up in this so you guys can see that.
on, everybody? It's Kyle Davis from Drew Estate Cigars here at Bourbon and Beyond in Louisville, Kentucky. Hanging out with the good folks at Pappy Co. this evening. Drew Estate makes two different great cigars for the Pappy Van Winkle family. The first being the Pappy Traditional, which is a great traditional blend that the Van Winkle family handpicks in our factory down in Esteli, Nicaragua. It offers an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It's a great, easy, everyday smoke, little leather, little spice, a little bit of that cedar woodsiness. It's great for newcomers, it's great for seasoned smokers, and it's great with all sorts of bourbons, whiskeys, and scotches. On the other hand, we also have the Pappy Barrel Fermented, which actually has a double wrapper on it. The foot highlights a San Andreas Maduro tobacco, and the cap actually uses a Kentucky fire-cured tobacco that's grown down in Hopkinsville, about 2 hours south of here. When we harvest that tobacco, we'll stick it in a barn and we'll smoke cure for 2.5 weeks with hickory, oak, and maple. From there, we send that tobacco down to St. James Parish in Louisiana, where we pack 500 pounds of that tobacco into a Pappy barrel, where it sits and ferments for another 1.5 years, and it takes all that residual moisture, sweetness, richness from those barrels. When we take the tobacco out of the barrels, we let it dry, roll it down to our factory in Esteli, Nicaragua, roll it into these beautiful cigars, straight to you.
Super friendly, super knowledgeable. This guy was awesome, and he talks extremely well.
Yep.
But being able to talk to him and be there with a Drew Estates representative was just amazing. It was really cool. And they had an offer going on there where you go to the Pappy & Co. tent and you can buy a box of cigars, either like a full box or like one of their little samplers, for like $70 for 4 or 5 cigars.
Yep.
Which isn't bad for a Pappy & Co. cigar.
Okay.
But you buy that, and then you go to the Drew Estates tent right next door. They had like a little cigar lounge sitting in the back, but at the front, you got to roll your own cigar.
Oh, man.
That was included in the cost of purchasing a box. And I was like, I didn't have the money at the moment to buy a box to be able to experience that myself. I got some pictures and some videos, and I talked to the woman that was helping the people out rolling it. They got to, they got their leaf and they spray it down and smooth it out. And they got, it was really cool to be, even not getting to do it myself, just being able to watch it was amazing. And the representative of Drew Estates, I gave him our business cards. He's supposed to email me and set up a time that we can go talk to him, which I feel would be absolutely amazing.
So me and Raymond here have spoke many times, sidebar conversations randomly throughout the day. One of us will get excited and call the other. We've said numerous times here on the channel with you guys just absolutely how much we love Drew Estate cigars.
Like most of the ones that we review on this channel are Drew Estates.
So the simple fact that you got to hang out with one of the reps, and his name is
I can't remember his name.
I think it's Kyle Davis.
It'll be on the video. It'll show up on he introduces himself.
I'm getting head nods from our audience. So pretty sure it's Kyle Davis. So if that's your name, sir, man, shout out to you. You were awesome hooking up my buddy here. However, the fact of the matter is how just excited we are for Drew Estate Cigars, and then for you to hang out and talk with one of the reps is super awesome, man. It
was really cool. That being one of my favorite cigar brands and companies out there, and to show up to that event, and I see their tent, and I got to speak with one of them, and just being there, and I don't know, it was just really cool. That made the entire event for me.
That's awesome.
That right there, it was just absolutely amazing. So, and I hope he reaches out, because I would love to be able to sit down, smoke a cigar with them, and
absolutely
just have some more conversation, because they are just absolutely amazing.
100%.
So,
okay. So I really wanted you to talk about that. With Bourbon and Beyond, in all things considering and audience considering, what was your favorite part, minus the Drew Estate tent, Bourbon and Beyond?
Am I including the music aspect of it? Man, that's really hard, because there was so many bands that I've always wanted to see.
Okay.
I'm a huge Teddy Swims fan.
Okay.
And so I was up front, like not up front, but I was up there enjoying Teddy Swims, and I was upset because there were some bands that I wasn't gonna be able to go see. And Alan Stone was gonna be on the other side of the event.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh, I love Alan Stone too.
Yep.
But I'm sitting there listening to Teddy Swims, and all of a sudden Alan Stone gets up on stage with him and sings a song with him. And that set it really well. And then besides the music aspect, I mean, I got to see the Beach Boys.
Very cool.
I mean, that was pretty neat. Whatever. But they have a stage where they have a panel of bourbon enthusiasts that go up and they discuss different bourbons and stuff like that.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
After you sent me the layout.
The layout, yeah. One of the panels that came up was nothing but all the Pappy James bourbons that gets released, and they went through the panel. So one of the things that they do is you can wait in a line and be available, so many people in line can go and they get to do the tastings with the panel.
Interesting.
I didn't get to be in the full panel, but one of the guys let me try one of his.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got to go, and I didn't get to wait in line. I was told like you can stand up at the gate, and sometimes they'll have extra ones, and you can try it.
Yep. Which Pappy did you taste?
The 12-year.
The 12-year?
Yep.
And what was your thought on the 12-year?
It's very, very. How do I put it? I liked it. Don't get me wrong.
It doesn't have the young.
It's not young at all. It goes
feels
down.
refined.
It feels extremely refined. It goes down smooth as hell.
Okay.
All the flavor notes that you get out of it, you're not searching for them.
Okay.
I feel like once you start getting into a bourbon like that, because I mean, in the 12 years, one of their lower year for Pappies.
Okay.
Once you start getting into bourbons like that, I feel like the flavor notes come out so much easier. Which this guy was like, I have a bottle of this at home, try it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I tried it. It was good.
Right.
I was upset because they had the 25-year and all that stuff coming through, and I was trying to be able to get a sample of those because they had some extras when they were about to walk backstage. But too many people, like younger people, walked up behind me and stood on either side of me, so they didn't give out those extra samples like they normally would.
Man.
And I was like trying to tell these people to leave. It didn't work.
Right.
But it's okay. I'll next year I will stand in that line and I'll make sure that I'm up there for it.
So what it sounds like is we need to try to build ourselves up to be one of the panel members.
Yeah, that would be amazing to be able to be up in there in that panel. But a lot of the people up there were like family of. Yeah. So.
Or even to be able to take our podcast, or our video cast or our channel, our experiences to stage. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be really cool, just to be able to be one of the time slots in the panels.
Yes.
And maybe even get to talk to a couple of the people.
Yep.
Maybe even get Drew Estates up there with
us. So that was Bourbon and Beyond. That was your first weekend. Okay.
And I was there Thursday through Sunday.
Okay.
And then I went Wednesday to set up camp.
For what?
For Thursday through Sunday of Louder Than Life.
Okay. Now again, with audience in mind, and I know some of your stories from Louder Than Life. What was the best part of Louder Than Life the second weekend you were gone?
The best part.
The best part of Louder Than Life.
Well, I can tell you the worst part really fast. And there's two stories on that one.
Again, remembering
audience in mind.
Yep.
So first one was, mind you, I live in my camper.
Yes.
I'm one of those camp folk. live in there. I can travel. Don't have to pack up my stuff. If I need to go somewhere, I just hook my truck up and leave.
And it's a gorgeous home, by
it's
the way.
nice. It's a nice, well-built fifth wheel. But so with that in mind, my liquor cabinet comes with me. And my liquor cabinet, an example of what's behind us and what you see us drinking on the show, it's not the cheapest cabinet in the world. But when you're checking into bring your camper in to the camp, they've got bomb and gun sniffing dogs going around, and I was kind of worried because I had some firearms in my camper earlier. I had taken them out. But,
okay.
I was like
residual
stuff,
Yep.
Didn't want anything to pop on that. Well, they go in and they start searching the camper. One of the things you can't have is glass. Well, 99% of liquor bottles are glass.
But you can't even have like glass cups?
I can't even have glass cups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like they don't want any broken glass, but they don't want people getting hurt.
I can understand.
Well, my liquor cabinet is normally pretty close to the front door, and wife moved everything, thinking that they weren't going to get as far as they did. And they open up a cabinet, and he said, "Oh, buddy," and starts pulling alcohol out of this cabinet.
Oh, buddy.
Mind you, a lot of my alcohol is here.
Right.
Thank God. But they still pulled out
Like 13 bottles?
closer to 20 bottles of alcohol from this cabinet. And it's like limited edition bottles, custom engraved bottles and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That, and then the stuff that isn't like custom and limited edition or like, some Elijah Craig that I paid a decent price for or, stuff like that.
Right.
And they confiscated all of it.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, they were like, we have not confiscated this much alcohol in one go at all. And I'm like, I will empty out a tote. We can throw all the alcohol in there and just let me pick it up at the end. I can have somebody come pick it up now. Like I can literally call somebody and they will leave their house at this moment to come pick it up.
I would have gladly.
And they wouldn't. They were like, you can pick it up at the end of the weekend. I'm like, okay, that's fine. As long as I can pick it up. Well, I went to go pick it up. Well, I didn't actually go to pick it up. I walked up and I was like, hey, tomorrow's the last day. When can I pick it up? And they pick up my stuff. And they're like, what stuff? I said, my liquor cabinet, all of my liquor. They're like, oh, because I carried that whole tote with all my alcohol to this U-Haul. Put it down. They had wrote my name on and everything. And then, you'd see a couple like mini bottles of Willet, a bottle of Jack, something like that around. Not like what I brought in.
Right.
Well, the U-Haul was gone when I went to ask. It was parked over on the other side. They're like, that U-Haul's empty. They threw everything away. So they were telling me that they threw away all of my alcohol. And I was like, I need to talk to a supervisor. I became the biggest Karen that you could be. Like, I was like, I need your supervisor. And I started cussing people out. And I'd go to that supervisor and they'd give me an answer I didn't like. And I'd cuss that. I was like, we're getting this figured out. Finally, I found the right guy. He's like, I will get you to calm down by walking you over here and showing you your stuff.
Oh my God, they still had it.
They still had it. They had emptied the U-Haul and put some stuff to the side and covered it with a tarp and had a security guard sitting there watching it.
Oh my God.
And it was like a cooler, a radio system, and my tote. That was it. So they literally had a security guard there 24 hours a day guarding my stuff. And they were like, can you pick it up now? Because we're not going to have somebody here tonight to guard it. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, we'll get it out right now. They're like, are you leaving? Like, my wife went and picked it up. And at the end of that night, before the security guard got let off, and they're like, are you leaving tonight? We were like, yes. We didn't leave until like 11 o'clock the next morning, but we didn't care.
Right.
We were getting like, that was the scariest thing.
Wow.
Like I almost turned the camper around.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So there was that.
It doesn't matter if it's, a bunch of, medium bottles. That's still a lot of money, at almost 20 bottles. Even if you $50 a pop, that's still a shit ton of money. And it doesn't matter how much that bottle is or what it's worth or whatever. That's still harder money going into things that you enjoy. And to have it confiscated, oh my goodness, like I would have a heart attack.
Well, so like one of them was, it was my wife and I went on a tour of Jim Beam.
Yep.
And we got a bottle custom engraved with our names and the date and everything put on it. And that was like the first time she had been to a distillery and stuff like that. And it was like it was from before we got married.
Nice little keepsake.
So it's not the actual cash value of that. Honestly, isn't much. Probably isn't anything above a standard bottle of Jim Beam.
Right.
But the sentimental value and the memories that we had from that, I can't replace that. Right. So that really upset me. But going to the concert itself, I mean, I got to see Till Lindemann.
And who is that? For those who don't know.
So that is the lead singer of a German band, and I will mispronounce this band. Rammstein. So
they're famous for the song Du Hast.
Du Hast, yes.
Du hast mich.
But he was on a solo tour, and I'm not going to go into extreme detail about this, but if you look up videos about his solo tour,
if you're under 18, don't look it up.
Yeah, don't look it up if you're under the age of 18. Well, he was supposed to be on a side stage originally, which doesn't have screens, doesn't have anything like that. Well, because of the rain and the hurricanes and all that stuff, one of the big headliners for the next day, they canceled Friday, which was the day he was supposed to perform.
Okay.
And then one of the headliners for the next day canceled. And so to fill that spot, they let him go up on main stage. Because he didn't have anything set up, they just let him put his normal solo tour videos up on the screen, which is very explicit.
And so the way that these stages are set up, so for those of you who don't know, I-65 is right there. You can see the stages. You can see the screens from I-65.
They have police that sit on the side of the road to keep people from stopping, because they will stop on the side of 65 and sit outside their car, and they can hear the music as if they paid for the concert.
And you can watch the screens because you've got the cameraman up there showing, doing the close-ups of the band and everything else. Yeah. And you're driving past and you can see these screens, and the videos that were being posted onto these screens were
not family friendly whatsoever.
Extremely explicit. Like he took video and he showed me, and my jaw hit the floor, especially knowing that that's visible from I-65.
Yeah, I have wanted to see him for years. Never thought I would ever be able to see him.
Right.
The fact that I got to was great, cool, awesome. But the fact that there were kids in that crowd with me, I felt awkward.
See, and that I don't want to get on a soapbox, so we're going to save it for another day.
But yeah, that being able to see him was amazing. Awesome, cool. I got to see Slipknot. I've seen them a couple times.
Love to see Corey Taylor. I want to see Corey Taylor doing his solo stuff.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Like his just him on a stage with a guitar, and I think he's got one other guy with him. I've seen some of the stuff online, and it like Snuff and Vermilion Part 2. I think it's Part 2. It's just oh my goodness, like absolutely phenomenal. Love those two songs.
Disturbed and Five Finger were there.
Love to see them too. A lot of good bands.
The craziest part of the whole event.
Okay. Oh man, I already know where this is going to go without you even mention it right now. Do you want to tell?
Yeah, go ahead and tell something.
A little snidbit of it. I know exactly where he's going to go. And
mind you, Slipknot is normally an extremely wild crowd. Extremely wild. I don't recommend kids to go to Slipknot and be in that crowd.
Okay, so the wildest part of his journey at Louder Than Life, and I wasn't even there. I didn't get to go, but he told me all the stories. And I'm going to guess, based off the stories that he's told me, the wildest part that he's getting ready to mention right now would happen to be the story where he tried to crowd surf 3 or 4 different times and was dropped 3 or 4 times, and there was a pile of bodies on top of him.
Yeah, that has a little bit to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Fair enough.
All right,
Continue.
so, mind you, the second day of Louder Than Life got rained out. And anybody that had a ticket for that second day, which was Friday, was allowed to go either Saturday or Sunday. And Sunday had perfect weather, so everybody came Sunday. Awesome. Well, the last act of the night was Korn. So you had Sunday that was originally sold out, plus all these extra people there.
Oh my goodness.
And it was insane. All these people that had originally bought tickets to go see Slayer didn't get to see Slayer. So they came and saw Korn instead.
So they didn't
Slayer couldn't, their tour wouldn't allow them to come into another day.
I got you.
But this crowd was intense. It felt like you were getting hit by a truck because of all the people trying to push forward. And I was pretty close to the front. And it got to the point like parents were getting their kids out of there, you know, and they've got like a little corral for the kids to stand up front and wait for their parents to get crowd surf out and get to the kids. The parents couldn't get out.
Wow.
There was 15 kids in that little corral waiting for their parents that could not get out of the crowd. It was insane.
That's madness. That's mayhem even.
It is. It's mayhem. It felt like we were in the middle of an asylum. Riot in an asylum. That's literally what it felt like. But I was like, okay, me and my buddy were like, we were going, catching crowd surfers, whatever. And it got to the point I was like, I've got to get out of here. It was bad. So my buddy throws me up and I get probably 10, 15 feet. Mind you, everybody up front is freaking out. And not paying because of all the pressure, and they couldn't move, and like people were literally in tears. Scared.
Wow.
So I got dropped. Luckily, somebody grabbed me, pulled me back up, and I'm like, all right, cool, get me out there again. I was just trying to get out of the crowd. They put me back up. I probably got 5 feet. And they dropped me again. Because these people weren't paying attention to see if there was a crowd surfer. Mind you, I'm not a small guy either. But people aren't paying attention to crowd surfers because they're worried about themselves at this point.
Right.
I hit the ground, and all of a sudden, there were 7 bodies on top of me. Like, literally, everybody started falling on top of me. I felt safer underneath that pile of bodies than I did standing up. Wow. Which was insane. They're pulling people off of me, cool, whatever. They get the last person off of me, and all of a sudden, the crowd swarms back over me. And then I hear one person yell, there's still somebody down there. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Thanks, guys. This guy helps me get up. Cool. And I'm trying to work my way to the front because obviously crowd surfing isn't working. And it's easier and faster to go through the front than it is to try and
go backwards. Sure.
So I'm fighting up there, and all of a sudden this old man looks at me. Big white beard, long white hair. Sorry, choked a little bit.
You're good, buddy.
Gives me that blank stare and then passes out.
Oh, wow.
Literally passed out in the crowd. And me and this other guy are like, this guy's unconscious. He's like literally dead weight to us. And we're literally fighting people and holding this man up. And he probably a good 230, 240. We're holding this man up, fighting this crowd of people, trying to get him up to the rail. The people that were at the rail got pushed down and were pinned against the rail. They couldn't get up.
My goodness.
There was blood from people getting elbowed in the face and like punched, and like it was terrible. We finally get this guy up, and then I get over the rail right as they're stopping the concert. And they put signs up on the thing. Safety emergency, everybody take 5 steps back. The concert ends, and they're like, everybody back up. They had police and like full riot gear pulling people out.
Oh, wow.
There was blood like all over the place. And come to find out there was people with broken bones and ribs crushed, and like it was an insane moment.
Man.
Insane.
I couldn't have done it.
I've been up front for Korn multiple times.
Right.
But when at that moment, I had never been anything like that. I've been up front for Slipknot. I've been up front for Metallica. Up front, like I was up front for Motley Crue, which isn't exactly as insane,
Right.
but you know, still a lot of people wanted to go see them.
Sure.
But this took the cake for most intense crowd I've ever been in.
Wow. I don't think I could have handled it. I can't do crowds much anymore. And I think that would have just done it for me.
You probably would have started swinging, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a good deal. Well, Ray, sounds like you had quite the adventure the last couple weeks.
Yeah, after a week of recovery, I can actually move again.
Yeah, buddy.
It's great.
It's good to have you back.
Thanks, man.
So you had time to sit on it. What do you think of it still?
So as I get further in, I'm getting more of that more earthy flavors.
Okay.
But they're just bringing. I'm getting more of the earthy flavors, but the fruit notes are still pulling.
Okay. Yep. So I'm about halfway through the cigar. You're, I think, just hitting your second third of the cigar. I'm definitely getting more earthy notes. The fruit flavors have died back a little bit, but they're still very much there.
Okay.
So still very interesting. But I've also had some of the bourbon here. I've been sipping on it. So I'm not sure if maybe my it's kind of wearing up my taste buds a little bit. But all in all, it's still pretty good. All through drinking and smoking.
Yeah, and that's where I like, because of the fact that they're both on the sweeter end of things. I feel like when you have that, like you said, it's overwhelming your taste buds.
Yeah.
If you get that balance of where you've got your earthy notes on one, your sweet notes on the other, they can still complement each other, but it doesn't overpower a certain set of taste buds. And that way you can continue to taste the different notes continuously. Once you keep hitting everything at once, they just get overwhelmed and you're not going to taste it anymore.
Right.
So,
ladies, gentlemen, we have one more thing to do before we start wrapping up here. We got to add it to our infinity bottle. Again, as we always talk about, every bourbon, every scotch, every whiskey that we try, we add it here to our 2024 infinity bottle. So at the start of next year, we're going to, our very first video, it's going to be a taste and review of this infinity bottle. With that being said, guys, like, share, subscribe, join our Stogies and Broskies family. Come hang out with us, interact with us. We love getting the comments. We get a handful of people chatting and talking, giving reviews or mentioning certain things in our comments. They talk about bottles that we should try, stuff like that. So with it being, close to Halloween, what's your favorite spooky time?
pour.
Pour.
Or do you guys have a drink that you make? I mean, we've just been reviewing just all these whiskeys and bourbons straight. But is there like a cocktail mix that you like on the holiday seasons, or are you still just sitting there hitting that straight or on the rocks?
I've been seeing some really good apple cider cocktails that we're definitely going to tap into. Maybe not necessarily on here this year, because our goal is to top this off by the end of the year. But maybe we'll do some side shoot videos to where we're hanging out, just having cocktails and just talking. But yeah, what's your favorite holiday cocktail? Not just holiday cocktail, Halloween. Early fall Halloween cocktail.
Because we're not to Christmas yet.
I'm not touching Christmas till it's Christmas.
We've still got Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Not touching it until we get there. We have our very first merch opportunity in the barrel. It's coming in. It's coming quick and soon.
It's loaded. It's about to get cocked back.
So this will be, I think, 2 weeks out. So you should be seeing our merch concept in full very, very soon. I would say before the end of October, maybe start in November.
November, probably.
Mid-November, you think?
Yeah, just safe call on that.
Safe call, yeah. So we're getting there. It's been a slow process. We didn't want to overload our plates because we both work full time. We've got lives outside of here. As much as we want to spend time with you guys, it's a lot on the plate, and we're still learning and growing, and we want to bring you guys with us. So to have a little bit of us on your bar or at your table, or for you to hang out, and enjoy pours, just look forward to it.
Keep your eyes open.
Yep, it's coming. Until then, like, share, follow, subscribe, talk to your buddies about it. Send them our way, especially if they're new cigar smokers or have shown slight interest. Send them our way. We'd love to have a conversation with them. Ladies, gentlemen, until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.